I'm here with another video. In this video we have an Xbox One X series, and this one is an exact model 1787, and I'm gonna talk to you about few methods of opening this one and which one is the correct one. I saw another video on YouTube and a good company, the UFIXTEK company. I saw them opening an Xbox One series and I was pretty shocked the way that they actually opened it. And it's not the correct way. There is few stuff that is not the correct way. It could damage badly your Xbox One. I'm gonna point into the video where they did a mistake, and I'm gonna show you guys in this video the proper way of the opening it up and repasting your CPU or accessing the internals. Alright, let's get into it and let's get it started. First thing first, you need an opening tool and you need a screwdriver set. I'm gonna use the UFIXTEK screwdriver set, and we're gonna be using few of these bits down here. So first thing first, you want to flip the back end of look at through the back side of the console, and down here you're gonna see a paper right here. There's a warranty label right there. So you want to grab your tweezers and you want to peel this warranty label off. So just lift it up or rip it off. Alright, next you need to get yourself a screw bit for these ones. I'm pretty sure that's the bit number, torque number 10. So you're gonna use bit number 10 and you're gonna remove these screws right from there. They're really kind of hard. Alright, those are the screws. So remove them. There are two of them, one on each corner. There we have it. Well, once you remove it, now they show you guys in the video to lift it up and to lift the tray upward and then pull it forward all the way. It's not to pull it front facing all the way. You don't want to do that. All you need to do is just hold it from the front side, from here, put your thumb on the bottom, and then pull the top towards yourself. And it comes off just about 1 centimeter, just a little bit. When it hits, and that's it. Now, when you get in this position, you want to lift it up where the power on button is, which is right here. You want to lift this side up. Now, you want to lift up this way up. You see, now you got to detach this side. And you want to put your finger right at the back and lift up this corner. Once you have this side up, now all you need to do, wiggle it around and like a drawer, open it up and remove this corner. If you try to pull it towards yourself and just wiggling it around, you're going to damage the board on this side and you're going to damage the pins and the plastic down here. So the best way is to lift it, pull it towards yourself and lift up where the power on button is, this way upward, and then remove it. That's one way to do it. Next, we're gonna be using the same screw head and we're gonna be removing every screw that we see on the top here. So let's get it started. The one that actually have a little bit flat head on the top, these screws, they are the long ones, right? They're all the same size. You want to remove those first if you want to. Okay, there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 long screws. Once you remove the 6 long screws, now we're gonna remove all the rest of the screws. These are all the same size except these two right here. So go ahead and remove every single screw you see here. I'm just gonna fast forward this part. Okay, now that we remove most of them, we're gonna remove these two. These two are a little bit of smaller torque, so this should be torque number 9. All right, there we have it. Now all you need to do here, just put your finger underneath and just lift it up. Just a push down contact right there. Next, we want to remove the Wi-Fi module right down in on this side. Okay, we're going to remove one black one and two white screws right here. Once you lift up, remove the screws, you don't want to pull it up from this side. You want to pull it up right where it says Microsoft. You want to pull it up from this side, just lift it up. Because the contact is right there. So if you try to lift up from this side, you're going to break the board. And you can see the Wi-Fi chip is right at the back. Now, this is the part that actually made me a little bit upset about the video that I saw. It's regarding this flex cable right here. To remove this flex cable, you cannot just simply pull it out as they did in a video. I'm just going to put a clip of that. What you need to do first is remove the 3 screws. Okay. Now, you want to grab yourself a tweezer. And this is how you remove this part. You want to lift it up from here. But there's a contact at the back. Okay, once you lift it up, you loosen up the contact at the back here. Now, you don't want to yank on this one backward. It's going to damage the pins right there. What you need to do to lift up this white cover upward 90 degrees. So lift up in 90 degrees, just like that. You see that thing just lifts up 90 degrees? That's the lock for the ribbon cable. And then you want to pull out the cable. You don't want to pull up this thing. It presses down on the ribbon so the pins get contacted right in they get pinched. So if you pull this one out, you're going to damage them really bad. And you're going to damage the pins in there. And in order to put it back in, you have to lift it up and then slide this one underneath and then lock it down. So that's the proper way of doing it. Okay. And 4 more screws that we need to remove. This is the heatsink X clamp screws. So we need to remove these 4 screws too at the bottom. Alright, now once we remove all the screws down here and the side panels, everything, what we need to do is to flip it over, put this right down and just lift up from the back end and wiggle it around towards the front, and there it comes up. So you see this flex cable goes all the way down to the sync button, and this one here is the extra USB hub right here. So you can go ahead and clean up the inside this one. Next, on the top cover here, there's only 2 screws holding it. One right here and one right there. There we have it. Once you remove that one in there, all you need to do to just lift up the cover here. You can wiggle it around a little bit. Lift it up and it should come out pretty easy. Alright. Sometimes when you lift it up, you see there's a plastic should be here holding it like this one's. It stays inside there, so you have to look for it, and it stayed right all the way down there. So you're gonna get to that one right now. It's down there. You need to remove it from inside and put it back on top of here, like this one's right here. Okay. Alright, now down here we have this DVD-ROM right here and the power supply. First thing first, we want to lift out the DVD-ROM so we can let go of this hinge right here and pull it forward and leave it there. Next, you want to rip this sponge, whatever tape, double-sided adhesive tape, and put to one side. Now you want to lift up the power supply upward with evenly. Don't yank it from one side. Lift it up and bring it to one side and let go of this cable right there. Untangle it from this corner. Now you want to disconnect the SATA cable and the power cable for the DVD-ROM. So pretty much hold it with 2 hands and then pull it upward. With this power cable, just pull the connector up. it won't go the other way around. It only goes one direction. Now you have your DVD ROM or optic drive. You can go ahead and clean up this one too. The power supply, this one is a 12 volt 20 amp, but I doubted that it pulls 20 amp from this one. And the model for this one, actually, the model is 1815. The model number 1815 power supply for Xbox One X series. The hard drive is down here. To remove the hard drive, pull up the connector for the power. Again, same thing with the SATA, just pull it up evenly. And this one is a 1 terabyte Seagate. You can upgrade it to a solid state drive. It will make it much faster. Next, we have the cooling system right here. We have the fan. To remove the fan, just disconnect the cable for the fan, just pull it up. There. And just lift up the fan housing. You can go ahead and clean up all this dust. We use an old toothbrush if you want to. Alright, now down here, once we remove that, we can just lift up this jack evenly. We go. And the thing that I was talking about is this one here. This clip, it goes just pinches right on the top casing. In a second, I'm going to show you guys how to put it on. Down here, we have the heatsink. You can see all the dust that is built up there and dust down there. So we're going to remove the heatsink, and I'm going to show you guys. Oh, look, another clip right here. We need to put it back on. So I'm going to show you guys the proper way of removing this heatsink. Alright, you want to lift up the motherboard from the housing, bring it up. There's a thermal pad here to cool down this other secondary chip right here. You don't need to replace it, you can just add a little bit of thermal paste in here and that's it. What you want to do first, you want to flip it over, put it down on the heatsink side, and we need to remove this X clamp. There is one proper way of removing this one, and it requires you to have two tools. One flat screwdriver, a really hard one, and maybe a flat screwdriver, but just like a kind of needle type, so it's just kind of pointy. You want to be really hard. With these two. In the video that they make, I see people do, they put a screwdriver right here, and they're like, okay, lift up this way, and by doing that, you're gonna be able to damage where the screws goes in. You're gonna damage this part. So you're not supposed to do it like this. The proper way is to put the screwdriver right in here between the screw head and where the screw goes and the little gap that they have in here. And you want to make a little bit of the force. This for pushing it this way, so you actually push this one towards the other one. And you want to grab the flat one, stick it between the back and the front one. And there we have it, with no force at all. And now the other one, this one is loose. Same thing, you want to put it there, and you want to pull it towards the one that you want to let go. Put the flat screwdriver right between the back, and then just lift it up. And there we have it. We both are loose. And if you wonder where I'm sticking this flat screwdriver, it's right by, let me see if I can focus on this one. It's right there. Is right at the back end of the, there's a little opening there, you stick it right in there. Okay, that's how you want to do it. Stick it right there and then help it out. All right, so let's do this side. Put the flat screwdriver right there and pull it towards the other side with this tiny one. Just help it out, and there we have it. This is the actual way to remove the X clamp on the Xbox One or any Xbox, even Xbox 360. They have the same X clamp. All right, once you remove that one, flip it back on its right position, and then just lift up the heatsink. And there we have it. It's a heavy heatsink. You do not want to remove the thermal pads here. Don't touch thermal pads or anything like that. We're going to remove the thermal paste and the thermal paste on the CPU. To remove it, you need a working towel. I'll leave the link in the description where you can get these ones. You need an alcohol and you need a working towel. So spray it down, and we're going to start rubbing on the CPU die. Okay, all you need to do is to clean the die. You don't need to clean up the whole PCB or damage the capacitors or anything like that. It's not going to do any effect on the chip or anything like that. So only clean up the die, the crystal die on the CPU. So what you want to do is clean it really nice, so it's really nice and shiny. And then go ahead and clean up the thermopaste on the heatsink. Alright, now that we clean up the heatsink, there's a corrosion, there's a little discoloration on the heatsink right here, and this can slightly affect the transfer of the heat from the crystal die towards the heatsink. So what you need to do, you need to grab yourself a copper solution cleaner. With a copper solution cleaner, we're gonna remove most of the oxidization on top of the copper heatsink. So what you need to do, you need to dump it right to the liquid right here, and then just clean up the heatsink. And look at that. You can go ahead and clean up the whole heatsink if you want to, but the only main one that you need to clean, it's right in the center. All right. Now we're gonna have a perfect contact between the heatsink and the CPU. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up this one with the air can, with the compressed air, and clean up the fan, and I'll be back. All right, now that we clean up the heatsink, I took it outside and we cleaned it up as much as I could. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna apply a thermopaste. I'm gonna be using Arctic MX4. So what you wanna do, you wanna do a small tiny line on the CPU, starting from one corner all the way to the other side. And then grab your, the heatsink, place it on top. Make sure you place it evenly, so align it. Once you put it in, don't lift it up. Make sure it goes evenly over the CPU. And hold it, and put it down, face down like this. Now you want to grab your X clamp. All right, I'll bend the legs a little backward to give more tension towards the motherboard, just a little bit. Now what you want to do, you want to hook up on one side, just hook it in underneath the screw, where the screw goes, and then make sure it's really nicely aligned over. Once you see it's really aligned, and you want to use your thumb and press it evenly on top, and you should hear a click. Do the same thing on this one. Put your thumb there beside it, and then snap it in. There. This one just popped out. Push it back in. If it comes out really easy, push it down and then push it a little bit towards the other side. So that's why they leave you this space here to be able to adjust it. All right, once we have the heatsink right there, we need to grab the bottom housing. All right, let's grab the bottom housing right there. Grab the heatsink and the motherboard. You can go ahead and apply a little bit of the one tiny drop of the thermopaste on top of this thermopad to seal any air bubbles or any empty spaces right there. It will not do anything bad. So put the I/O side down first and then bring it down, put it in place. Make sure it sits nice all the way down. Once we have it in this position, you want to grab your power supply first and then put down the power jack right here. There's a little tiny pins right here. You want to put these pins through those holes. There we go. Once you have it in there, just leave it there. Grab your fan that you cleaned up. So this is a cleaned one. Put it on top. Again, remember the fans at the back, they have little tiny plastic extras. They have to go right through the hole in there. So align it. Okay. Now, when you remove the cable from hitch, so put it back right through here. And plug in the power for the fan to the board. Just push it in. It only goes one way in. You can't just put it the other way around. Once you have these two in, you need to grab your hard drive. The hard drive goes face up. Put it down. Make sure it sits nicely in there so it's not moving around. Put the power connector. Press it down. The SATA connector. Press it down. Now you need to do first put the optical drive here. Put the SATA cable all the way in and grab your power jack cable and just push it down into the jack. You want to leave it in an offset position. You don't want to put it in a correct position right now because we have to put the power supply. Bring your power supply over and evenly make sure the whole connector goes right through here. So bring it down evenly and push it all the way down. Put the cables somewhere over there. Lift up this foam. Put the foam on place. Now you can lift up the optical drive and just hook it right through there. Make sure you hook it right there. Once you have it in this position, now we're gonna put these two things that fall off. This one came out from there, I'm guessing. I'm hoping. And this long one, it came from here. So it should be just like that. Alright? Now what you need to do is bring it down evenly. You can do that too. And let me see here. Here it has to go behind this plastic, so you just push it down all the way in. And there we have it. You can remove this I/O plastic from the back by just unhooking these hooks, and it should come out pretty easy. I'll just leave it there. The hooks are right there. Alright. Now we're gonna put the two screws that we removed on the top. The flat one goes here, and the other one goes in the opposite side. Alright. Now we got that in there. We need to grab the top cover, the bottom cover. The bottom cover has to go where the optical drive is. You just want to put it down that corner first. So make sure it goes right there. Put the front end and then bring back the back side all the way in. And that should be all. Now, let's put it in a correct position. Bring this hook over and just press it down. Put the two screws for this contact. These are those tiny flat head ones. Flat screw as it is flat. Okay, now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you guys how to put this front panel. Remember the one that actually they almost screw up by pulling it? The way you're supposed to take it out, let's say if this one is locked. If this one is locked, you want to unlock it by lifting up this one 90 degrees. And then you want to grab the flex cable and then slide it all the way in. It's going to be a tiny bit left, but as much as you can push in, and then lock it in place. Now this thing shouldn't come out. Now you're going to put this contact right through here. I just put it right on top and then push it down right here. Now we're going to put the 3 screws here. These are 3 golden color screws. Alright, now we're going to flip it over and we're going to put the Wi-Fi board. Same thing with the Wi-Fi board. You want to align it on top and then push down the contact. And here the black screw goes right beside the contact. Alright, and the two long ones, silver color, they go right beside it. Okay, I don't know why is this one. There we go. Okay, now that we put the 3 screws right there, we're gonna put the rest of the screws. First, we put the 4 screws for the X clamp. Alright. Now, the long screws, it's very obvious where it's supposed to go. It shouldn't go where you can see the plastic. It goes on the empty spots, which looks very deep. So, like in the middle, in the corners, and this one's supposed to go right there. Alright, now we're gonna put all the small screws inside wherever you can. 4 for the hard drive, everywhere. So much. You should be able to do this one very easy. I'm just gonna fast forward this part. So unless you want to see me screwing a whole bunch of screw, that will be a very boring video. Alright, now that we have all the bottom chassis screws in, the final part will be putting the top cover. Alright, and again with the top cover, the tricky part is to stick where the Wi-Fi board is, so you don't want to slide it back in. What you want to do, you want to place in this position, you want to place this side down underneath in there, so it's just gonna draw, put it there and then bring it over this side. So you want to put it down with an offset position. So let me try it again to show you guys. So I'm putting it with an offset position with the 1 finger away under the board. So this part is going to go under the board where the board finishes. Put it right there and then bring it over to this side. So it should look like this. So you shouldn't be able to see any contacts in there once you bring it over. Now in this side, you have it right there. It is already in place. So once you bring it over, lay it down on this side, simply pull it backwards. So there is nothing like pull it all the way forward or like a drawer. It's not a drawer. It just has to open to one side. Or once you have it all the way back, simply at the back put the last 2 screws. And I hope you guys like this video. If you guys liked it, click that thumbs up button. If you have any requests or questions, leave them in the comment area. And I really appreciate if you guys subscribe. It really helps and motivates me to make more videos and take requests from you guys. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Alright, now we're finished. And this is how you service your own Xbox One X series.